Today we're talking about queues, specifically a circular queue. We're going to show you how to implement it using an array. Welcome back, folks. Almost a year ago, I did a video about queues, a super useful data structure that I use all the time in various systems. In that video, I showed you how to implement a queue using a linked list, and I mentioned that sometime later we would make one with an array. And then I got busy and it's been almost a year, and so today I wanted to come back and actually do that. So today we're going to implement queues with arrays. This video will naturally have source code, and that source code is available as usual through Patreon. To all of you who support this channel, a huge thanks for your support. But now let's talk about queues. Now, if you've never heard of a queue before, you might want to check out my previous video. I go into a little more depth. But basically, a queue is a linear data structure, basically a list, where we always add things to one end, to the back, and we take things off the front. So it's really just like a queue at the market, first in, first out. And these queue data structures show up in a lot of different applications where we want this kind of first in, first out behavior. And we can implement queues in a variety of different ways. Last time, as I mentioned before, I showed you how to use a linked list. Today, I'm going to show you how to use an array to store the elements of your queue. And this is going to be faster and in some ways simpler. So enough talk, let's get into the code. Now, I'm going to start today with the code that I wrote in the last queue video. I'm going to keep as much of the code structure the same as I can, just to make it easier to compare the two implementations. So before we had this integer up here that we defined, basically it's just int min. I'm using that to detect when my queue is empty. And we had these two structs down here, okay? Now today we're not going to need two structs. We don't need a separate struct for our node because we don't have a linked list here. So instead what I'm going to do is just take this value, which we stored, and we'll just merge these together into a single struct. Now we're still going to store integers in our queue. Of course, we could easily change that to store anything we want, strings, floats, structs, whatever. But integers are simple and they won't distract from the data structure, which is my focus today. So I've removed the node struct. Now I want to come down and change this queue struct. Okay, like I said before, we're going to have an array of values. So this first thing is just going to be a pointer. We're going to call it values. Now this is going to be my array. I'm declaring it as a pointer because I'm going to allocate it on the heap. That way we can resize it at runtime. But pointers and arrays in C are basically almost the same thing. And if you're not comfortable with that whole pointer array thing, I'll link to another helpful video down in the description. But this pointer is basically going to point to an array of values. They're the values that I'm going to store, the elements I'm going to store in the queue. And instead of having pointers to the head and tail, now we can just keep track of these as integers. So we can have a head and a tail. These are just going to tell us the position in our array that is going to represent the front of the list and the back of the list. I'm also going to add a num entries integer, which is going to keep track of how many elements are in the queue. You'll see why in just a minute. And also the size of the array. This is going to be helpful for making sure that we don't overflow our array because our queues could be of different size. And of course, there are other ways that I could handle some of these things. This is how I'm handling them today, but feel free to play around with it and find your own way. And comment down below if you think there's a way I could improve on this implementation. I would definitely love to hear your opinions. So now let's look at how we initialize our queue. We're still going to pass in a pointer to the queue struct, and I'm going to need to add in here a size. That's one of the downsides of using an array is that we have to tell it what size we want to allocate. With a linked list just basically grows to be the size we want it to be, although it does waste some space and it's not quite as fast. So before we just had to set our head and tail pointers to null. Today we're going to do a bit more. Specifically, I'm going to first store the size. It's going to be this max size that we passed in. Next, let's allocate our actual array, and we're just going to get the size of an integer. That's the size of our elements times the size of our queue. Okay, so this is going to give us an array that has enough for the elements that we requested and the right size for each of those elements. And then because it's empty, we want to set our num entries to 0. And let's set our head to 0 and our tail to 0. Now, of course, we could set our head and tail values to some special values like -1 to clarify that there's nothing in the queue. You're going to see that in some implementations, but really in this case, it's not going to matter because we have this num entries value that's going to keep track of when we don't have anything in the queue. So this looks pretty good. Let's also make a few new functions that are going to come in handy. The first one I'm going to make here is going to tell us if we're empty. So we'll call it queue empty. We'll pass in our queue. And let's just return whether or not num entries equals 0. So if num entries equals 0, that's going to be true, meaning that we are empty, and otherwise it'll be false. And then let's make one that also checks to see if we're full. Basically, if we filled up all the entries in our array. And so for this one, we're just going to check to see if we have reached the size of our queue. So if we have filled up our array with entries, then we will return true for this function. Okay, now I also, because we're going to be allocating this on the heap, I also want to make another function that is going to destroy my queue. Here, let's call it queue destroy. We'll pass in our queue here. And all I'm going to do here is just free the values. And this is just because maybe our queue isn't going to last the full duration of our project. Maybe we want to make sure we don't have memory leaks in the middle. And that's going to be a big deal, especially if this queue happens to be a short-lived data structure. Okay, so now let's go down and look at some more complicated stuff. Let's look at the enqueue, which there was a lot we did down here when we had a linked list. So we're going to need to change this up a little bit. Just as a refresher, the idea with enqueue is we're going to add an element to the queue and we're going to add it to the back of the queue. Okay, so queue is the queue we're adding something to, value is the integer we're going to be adding onto the back, and later on when we get to dequeue removes from the front. So our previous enqueue had to allocate a node to put it on the list. Let's remove that code because we don't need to create nodes. We're not doing a linked list here. So we don't really have a list to add the node to. In fact, let's just start from scratch and remove all of this. And now what I'm going to do is first just test to see if my queue is full, okay? Because that's the thing that's going to prevent us from successfully enqueuing. The only thing that can get in our way is if the queue is full. We've used up all of our space on our queue. Our array has no more room in it. So in this case, we're going to return false, meaning we couldn't add anything. But if it's not full, then we know we can add something. And so in this case, all I'm going to do is just say queue values. And let's remember, we're going to add it at the tail. So the tail position that we recorded, it's going to start out as 0, but later on it's going to change, of course. And we're going to set that equal to the value. And then we just need to increment the number of entries. Just add one more. That's recording that we've now added another element to our list. And then we are going to move our tail. So normally we would just say queue tail equals queue tail plus 1. So we're just going to add 1 to the tail. Now this is going to be a problem when we reach the end of our array. And we don't want to keep marching off the end of our array. So there are a few different things that we could do to fix this. One possibility is I could add an if statement that just says, if the tail is greater than or equal to queue size, basically if we've gone off the edge, then we could just set queue tail back to 0, okay? So this is one way we could accomplish this. We can accomplish the exact same thing simply by using the modulus operator here. We're just going to mod it by the size of our queue. And I wanted to show you this because this is a really common way you're going to see people code this up. So if you haven't seen the modulus operator, it's going to give you the remainder after integer division. I have another video about it that goes into a little more detail in case you want a little more time on the modulus operator. But for today's purposes, the point is this does exactly what that if statement did, which is it's going to wrap our tail back around to 0 when we reach the end of the array. And then once we get down here, we just return true because we were successfully able to add something to our queue. Okay, so that was actually a lot shorter and a lot simpler than our linked list version. Now let's take a look at dequeue. Again, let's just remove this old code. We're still going to need a result. I probably shouldn't have deleted that. Now here, the thing that could prevent us from dequeuing is the opposite. Basically, if our queue is empty, then we're going to return queue empty. Now notice we don't return true or false because we have this special value that we defined up at the top, basically that is not going to be used in our queue. That's really important, but we're going to return it to say, hey, the queue is empty. You can't get anything from this queue right now. But if it's not empty, then what we're going to do is we're going to save in result the value that is in the queue's head position. So we're going to grab, this one. We're basically going to use head to index into our array. We're going to grab the value at queue arrow head, and then we're going to move the head just like we moved the tail. So queue head, we're going to add 1 to it, and then mod it with the size of the queue. So that will handle the wraparound case, wrap us back to the beginning. And then we need to make sure we remember to keep track of the num entries. So we will decrement that, and then we return our result, okay? And again, that's all there is to it. Now, one thing you might notice is that I said we were removing the head, but like we so often do in computer science, we aren't actually removing the head. We're just moving the head over one index. So we're basically just pretending that that element is now gone, right? So it's basically dead to us. and eventually we're going to overwrite the top of it when the tail moves back around. But for now, the point is we can ignore it. And so that's it. It's pretty simple, and I know we've gone pretty fast, and you might be wondering what keeps the tail from running over the top of the head, right? Because we're wrapping around. Basically, the head is chasing the tail, and really overlap in this case is prevented by our checking to see if the queue is empty or if it's full. So now let's make sure this all works. Let's jump down into our main function and mix things up a little bit. For now, let's only just do one queue. Let's remove some of this old code. We need to give it a size. Let's go with 5. That seems to make sense. We could, of course, make more. I'll leave that for you to do later. And so here we have a queue that we've just added a bunch of entries to. So just to test out different conditions, let's also try to add a 2 at the end here. This should fail because we should have a full queue at that point. So then basically what I'm doing down here is just running through this loop and calling dequeue as long as I can until there's nothing else on the queue and printing out that value. And now let's just see if this all works. Maybe I have a bug in here, but let's just find out. We'll come down here. Actually, it compiles just fine. That's great. And now if we run our queue array test program, you can see that we added those first 5 successfully. The last one didn't get added. That's because our queue was full. And we could, of course, have tested to see if it returned queue entry and printed out some warning when the queue fills up. But basically, we have now a queue that is implemented using an array, and it works beautifully. And folks, that's it. We now have implemented a queue using an array in C. Let me know down in the comments if you have any suggestions, improvements, or if you have requests for future videos. Like this video if you found it useful. Subscribe if you don't want to miss the next one. And until next week, I'll see you later.